Hey, welcome in. You're watching the Stocktwits Community Rip Live. Same time as we've had for the last couple episodes, 1 p.m. right here on Stocktwits on every Wednesday. It's been Bags. Hi, I'm the native bag holder around these parts, along with Gpaisa. GP, you might know him as the guy who's all in Tesla all the time. And then over here on the other side of me, depending on how your perspective of the screen is just fucking do it. Nick, Jfdi. Gentlemen, Happy New Year. It's great to see you.
Happy New Year.
It is.
Yeah, I think according to Larry David, like 4 days ago was or 3 days ago was the last time you're supposed to say Happy New Year. But we haven't seen each other since then. So Happy New Year. And Happy New Year to the chat. We love you, chat.
Oh, look at that. Ryan's all over it.
Ryan's always all over it. Happy New Year to you too, Ryan. We're so back. Anyway, what's going on? What's going on, guys?
Yeah, a few days, it looks like.
People were salty that Santa didn't come right after Christmas, but then the New Year gets here and wham! What the hell's going on, GP?
I honestly don't know. What I will tell you is the resistance that's been there since October 26th, the 25,700. We rejected even yesterday, and then the bulls were able to take over it. This is on the NQ futures. If you're looking at it,
I'll get there.
It has been resistant for 2.5 months.
That yellow line right there.
That yellow line has been an absolute force to be reckoned with. Is breaking down, and we're breaking out, and things are still very wonky in terms of price action, but generally constructive overall, right? Like I still see, like, the VIX is 15, and you're still seeing 3 to 5% intraday moves. It's stinky price action, but volatility near breakouts is typically what you'll see before they go, right? We talk about the shakeout before the breakout, the shake and bake, the all that stuff. That's all the stuff that's happening here, and we're pushing above that level. Obviously, we can take a dump into the close as we have for years, what feels like years now, and we still had the morning 9:30 to 10:30 dump-a-thon as usual. But we are coming out on the other side of what looks like as a... I can't talk about this song because it might be copyright infringement, but it's all about that bass, right? So,
yeah.
Nick, what bass are you seeing?
What bass are you seeing is the question.
I mean, just looking at the spies and the Qs, we completely negated the head and shoulders pattern that the Qs built out, and then from that it kind of built out its own inverse head and shoulders, and we're breaking out of that today. I could also argue somewhat of an ascending triangle on both the Qs and the NQs breaking out today. The SPY, kind of similar thing, breaking out of an ascending triangle. From a index standpoint, I mean, it looks great. I think, considering the action we saw Monday, Tuesday, I think today, tomorrow, and even Friday, some chop pulling should be to expected, considering how hard some of these names ripped. So for those that weren't, chasing too hard, especially yesterday, today provided a lot of opportunity, and I would assume, or I'd expect a little bit more tomorrow as well. But and I'm just speaking, like, looking at like the rocket names, like ASTS, for example, had a 3-day ripper, and there's no reason that you should have been getting involved or chasing that yesterday. Today is giving you a great opportunity to buy this kind of pull in. Both the 10 and 20 day are catching up, so you've got kind of a zone there. wherever you might want to take a stab at it. Trying to think of some. I mean, there's setups all over the place. Seeing drugs kind of hitting hard today. It's just kind of wherever you. It's like there's so many setups. Just find the ones that really land for you. Get involved and ride is kind of how I'm feeling.
I mean, I took a position in Novo Nordisk earlier this week, and I'm happy with this price action.
Yeah.
I'd love to see maybe a little bit of a gap fill so I can add some more. Nick, I think you're absolutely right. But I want to back up to what GP was saying. That sort of 10-30 dumpathon that we've been experiencing, I've used it over the past, I don't know, few weeks as my triggers to buy, right? Because we've been saying for months now, you're not bullish enough. We're not bullish enough. And if you really believe that, you have to take action, right? Like you have to put your money where your mouth is. If you really believe that and you're really trying to see your investments appreciate. So I've been using those opportunities to add to my positions. I mean, I bought Broadcom. I brought more MicroStrategy today, right? Almost to the beat of 1030, right? So I'm using those pullbacks, that shitty price action, as great price action for me to buy down here with anticipation that we're going up and to the right.
Yeah, and so let's walk through the 1030 dumpathon on one specific stock, right? And this combines the 1030 dumpathon with the base conversation. So the one we're going to talk about is Rivian. And so Rivian's base has been building below 1890 for the last 2 years, approximately, right? You can
There
see
you
the
go.
pivot high, that 1890 level right there from, what is that? May of 2024, but it goes back further. Anyway, this is the top of the base. It spans across multiple years. And today you woke up, and as soon as the market opened, down from 1955, it opened right where it closed, 1953, and they just dumped it straight down right into that pivot, 1860 to 18. They always overshoot, but literally look at the reaction off that level, right? Like if you go down to the 5 minute as you're watching this happen, right? You're looking at that chart and be like, oh my gosh, that's volume picking up. That's a lot of selling. And then boom, 1030 hits or 10 o'clock hits, whatever that time frame is, where they turn off the algo to the other side, and it reverses for nearly 10% from there. And this has been the consistent pattern you've been seeing across so many names in these base structures, right? These base retests, these base breakouts. So this is just one example of the constructive behavior that's happening in so many names. But this was like, I was looking at it this morning. I'm like, oh, looks like I'm going to get my opportunity to buy. And I turn around, go make coffee, and the shit just like it's already back to all high day. And I'm like, all right, well, didn't get a chance to. But there's so much of this action, and they're on a mission to divorce you from your shares. In my opinion, we've been talking about this mantra for months now. If you look at Microsoft, a great example, Nick, right? Like, oh, it's going to break down. It's going to break down.
Yeah.
You go to the daily, draw in the 200 SMA. It
Yeah.
it literally,
Seriously.
it's like break, just kidding, break, just kidding, break. No, I'm broken. Nope, just kidding. This has been the consistent mantra. They are trying to shake you from your shares. Maybe you think it's distribution, and we'll find out. Sure enough.
Well, Jimmy, I mean, it could always be distribution, right? Like we are 5 minutes away from the next correction, right? Like there is going to be a correction at some point, like, right? The market is going to lose anywhere from 5 to 15% at any point in time in any given year. So we should expect at some point to see that. But if you look at over the course of time, those are just a blip on the screen, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I was thinking that Though, I mean, the way I'm looking at it is if we're breaking out right now,
Which, if you
fast
look at
forward,
Q's,
yeah, looking at the cues, if we're breaking out right now, fast forward like let's just say a month, and kind of see what the price action brings, it'd put me in a camp where we're gonna probably melt or trend for somewhere but in the range of like 3 to 4, 3 to 5 months, and then we're gonna see that 8 to 10% correction,
it's
which would kind of
reasonable.
line up with like the seasonality of like probably sometime April, May, maybe.
Sell it, may, and go away, right?
Yeah, we get a chopped summer and then let the bases reset and then we're off to the races come September, October.
Well, let's not
Yeah.
forget the seasonality of, while a midterm election year as an entire year tends to be worse performing than a general election or a non-election year.
Sure.
I think it was 21 out of 21 or 22 of 22 of the last midterm cycles. If you bought in July of that year and held for 9 months, you're positive. So while you might get crappy price action during the summer, the last 21 or 22 experience of this has resolved higher 9 months later. And that's really all you can ask for.
Yeah. I was thinking, so for the longer term, I don't want to say investor, more of like, let's say the trend trader or position trader, positions that you're getting into now, that's likely going to be either you're either peeling off into that or you're waiting to see how hard those pull in and how the base is reset to leg into positions that you have a pretty low cost basis, pending this breakout doesn't fail. Because that's always possible.
Well, I'm looking over here. This is a watch list that I have set up for easy reference. I mean, other than crypto, which crypto is getting kicked in the teeth today, but it's been up for the last week, so you got to give some pullback at some point. I mean, look at Amazon, right? GP, you posted this and I thought it was interesting. The look of Tesla, right, as compared to Amazon. Maybe you want to talk about that a bit, but I mean, if you're long Tesla in this range, like you've got plenty of area here for it to come in, right? Like you don't have to worry about Tesla at $236, I don't think, but I don't know. GP, go ahead.
So, like, this is the same conversation, right? Like, before we go on to Tesla, let's look at some names that, let's go to the monthly and see if you can see the structure, because I think this is important. Not you, Ben and Nick. I know you guys can see it, but the people who are listening, who may be first time listeners, um, if you're looking at these bases, right? Let's go take a look at two names that have 20-25 year bases that have gone absolutely apeshit. First one is Micron, MU, right? So, like, if you go back to the .com highs, to look at how the bigger picture looks, right? So the .com highs is pretty much that yellow line that you have there. No,
Yeah,
that purple line?
99 2000 is the pink line right here.
Right. So you can see that was tagged 25 years ago, and in 2023, well, 2020, 2021, we rejected it. 2023, 2024, we finally took it out, and you're like, oh, it's time to go. And they sold it relentlessly to you. And all you could be like, it was uncle. And all that was basing at the pivot high, right? It's basically, I don't think there's anyone actually holding shares from 2000, but let's say there is. They're basically exhausting that supply, and once that supply gets exhausted, it takes off. It took what, a year and a half for that supply to get exhausted, and what has it done since? What was that, 60 all the way to 340, right? That's one example. IBM is another example.
IBM,
right?
Yeah.
IBM up and to the right ever since it took out that 25-year base, right? Like, it had gone nowhere outside of paying dividends since 97 or 98. it took a really, really long time to break out of that base. But once it did, it was dips are gifts. And so if you're looking at big picture scenarios and so many of these things, there's so many that fall into this multi-decade um, base, right? To me, there seems to be two. There's the 15 to 45 year base, gold, silver, copper. Um, you don't need to pull up all the charts, but you can go across the board on these multi-decade bases breaking out. GE is now joining the camp, right? GE broke a 24-year downtrend in 2023.
And the spinoff, G Vernova.
Yeah, GEV, right? Like they had to sell off every single business they had, but they unlocked value essentially. And you can see that once it broke the downtrend, it's been in this big base. And if GE is just starting, which seems ridiculous after a 10x move, where do you think the markets are generally going to go? And so
higher.
So it's not just GE. You can look at Cisco. You can look at what SanDisk has done. STX has done. We can go through the bases, and there's bases that are building in GM, Ford, all these forgotten about names for decades on end. They had to try EVs and fail at EVs to unlock the value of what GM and Ford are, right? And so I think in general, what you're seeing is these two big categories, these multi-decade bases, and then you have the Amazons and the Teslas and the SoFis and the
You're hitting the spot right now, GP. Those are my names. Just keep bringing it to me, baby.
These are the 4 to 6 year bases, right? There's a couple that fall into the 8 to 10 year bases. That's Roku and a few other Wayfair and a few other names, but a lot are in this 4 to 6 year kind of base, basically since COVID. And we talked about I think it was years ago, where we talked about the lost decade, right? And since COVID, we're on year 6 for a lot of names. It's been the lost little bit more than half decade conversation. So I'm not saying they necessarily need to break out here, but they're building for the breakouts that are eventually coming, in my opinion. And as much as you make fun of, not you personally, you make fun of Tesla's price action and the volatility, Amazon is no better. Amazon was 190 when Bezos stepped down in 2021, right? It is, and it has. If you got Amazon up, right?
Mhm.
What is it doing? It looks exactly like Micron here, right? It's base. This one's actually a little bit more powerful because it's basing above this base that it built from COVID. But it's not just Amazon. Tesla's doing the same thing, even though it's doing it in the ugliest way possible on the planet. 414.50 was the prior all-time highs in 2021. We are gyrating above and around that level, and everyone thinks it's going back to 214, 350, 100, whatever, right? It is game over and all this stuff. But if you're looking at the chart, if it breaks down here, fine, I'm wrong, right? But ultimately, it's holding above these levels, which it couldn't do in 2024, right? In that big move, it couldn't hold above 414.50. It kept getting rejected and closed below it. But like if you go to like other, like when we're talking about indices, other indices that are in the same boat of bases, look at what XLF did. XLF, going back to the great financial crisis, basically took out the great financial crisis in 2021, and for almost 2 years went sideways. The SVB crisis, whatever crisis you threw at it, it couldn't break the GFC lows and pretty much rounded up and now is taking off, right? KRE is now in that boat, but it's not just XLF. XLE is in that boat. 17 years at this GFC pivot high. You want to call it a head and shoulders? Head and shoulders don't have 3 years of accumulation, right? It's the right shoulder is usually the quickest shoulder down because its distribution's been done. Like if you want to talk, like I initially thought it was going to be a head and shoulders when it first topped out in 2022, 2023, but they refuse to let it break down. They continue to build it. And this is while oil is in a 3-year downtrend. So
It's like $56 a barrel or something, I think. Anyway.
Yeah. And so to me, all these themes, all these stackable things is that I know it's a meme. You're not bullish enough. But the reality is you aren't. If these bases all break out to the upside and we finally get that wave 3 move in the SPY, that's what we're looking at here. We've talked about wave 3 plenty of times. The wave 3 is the most relentless uptrend, shallow pullback market. And think about what we've done since April. Think about what we've done since April. Nonstop up. And what are even though they destroy things underneath, what is the actual indices done? Very, very shallow. What I think SPY was a 3 to 5% correction, not even.
But Nick, I have to ask you a very insightful question about all this, and I'm serious when I ask it, so don't just laugh it off. Are we bullish enough?
Can you not do that while I'm drinking coffee?
I'm serious. I'm not just being permabull Ben over here. I'm being serious, because as I posted the other day, I think that we are climbing a wall of worry, and that can go on for quite some time. Are there cracks in the economy? Sure, but earnings power have never been greater year over year and quarter off a quarter across many sectors and across many individual businesses. So I ask this with all sincerity, Nick, in 2026 on January 7th, right now at 1:25 Eastern time, are we bullish enough?
No, we're on the precipice of breaking out of an 18-week base range. We're breaking out. We're breaking the trend line today. We obviously still need to take out the 636, 637 on the highs to, I guess, maybe technically say that trend has resumed. But we're definitely taking a foot in the right direction. So, in my eyes, there's no reason to answer your question. No, I don't think we're bullish enough.
So we went through our best ideas of 2026 last week, and I don't want to revisit them right now. But when we look at names across the board, we're talking small caps, right? When we talk about some of the, like Rivian. Rivian's not a huge company, right? We're talking about oil, right? Energy names, whether it is Chevron, Exxon. We're talking about financials, right? And I'm not just talking fintech, but you look at some of the banks, they're doing quite well, especially if you get down into the regionals. We're talking about mega cap tech, while we have talked at length of how exhausting the recycling and rotation inside the Magnificent Seven, or whatever you want to call them, has been. At the end of the day, 3 or 4 of them are carrying the water and lifting the other ones up, and then they just flip around. There is a bullish scenario going across almost everywhere. And when we had Matt on the show, he talked about breadth, and then he posted his chart that breadth had pulled in during the Santa rally, but now it's breaking out. It was basically a retest of that breakout. So again, Nick, are there names outside that you're looking at that it's just like, why aren't more people buying this?
Yeah, pull up the IGV.
I love a hated sector.
Yeah, exactly. I think money's going to start pushing back into the IGV. Your double bottom or higher low, whatever you want to kind of call it, ultimately confirms through 111. I posted this chart yesterday. And just looking at some of the individual names, because I think both of you picked Twilio, and Twilio's looking fucking great. Same thing with like MDB. MDB is heading into highs today. Net has, considering the destruction in the IGV, Net, all it did was pull into the 200-day, and it's
all
like
it
kind of
did.
double or triple bottoming off the 200-day.
I posted a Cloud Flash chart yesterday.
Snow had a phenomenal day yesterday. Today was your opportunity to either leg in on the weakness this morning. D-Dog was having a ripper off the 200-day. I think IGV is definitely a place to be, and a place to look if you're not already involved in some of the other names that have kind of broken out and ran.
I mean, GP, you talked about Meta a couple weeks ago, and all Meta's doing sort of levitating right here, allowing all those moving averages to get back together. What are you expecting from Meta here?
So that I think I posted this chart.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I know. Is this close enough?
That's good.
Can you hear me now?
It sounds sultry.
Oh,
it does.
So this to me is I think it's going to be after Gen OpEx personally, because that's how this stuff goes. But this is coiling under the 200 SMA and this monster gap down. It's going to be one of two things. It's either going to break down so hard that we're going to break through 580 so badly, or we're going to break out of this. The fact that we haven't broken down here and we keep making higher lows tells me we break to the upside if my bias is leaning that way, and it happens to be because I bought in at 580. And so this just looks really, really good, and it's been unloved for the better part of what, 8 to 10 months now. Back-to-back earnings got slapped. It's not the most loved name now. It's the cheapest name in the mega cap land.
No, it's not. Amazon is.
Okay.
That's okay.
I think Micron actually might be, but but they're not mega cap. That thing just never gets the multiple. Anyway, I think you're just seeing, like, you're still seeing I was talking to a friend this morning, and I'm like, I'm waiting for the day we stop pair trading. And the pair trading has been pretty prevalent over the last 3 or 4 months. One goes up, one goes down, right? Like Microsoft is going up today. Meta's like, you know what? I'm just going to go down instead on whatever narrative or whatever news you're going to do. So I'm waiting. This is one of my bigger tells on general market theme is it stops becoming a pair trade and it becomes a trend trade, right? And so like you're looking at crypto still can't find dog shit in a dog park, right? But you see MicroStrategy be green, coin is down, right? The pair trade's still there.
No. That's not why those are the things are happening. MSCI said that strategy will be admitted into the indexes.
Yes.
And that's causing forced buying regardless of what crypto is doing. That's the reason why.
BMNR. Tell that to BMNR, which is bright red. They're all part of the treasury companies, right?
It is, but we're talking about two completely different companies. When you're talking about coin, right, which was what you started off with, coin, that's a strictly crypto trade. BMNR, yes, is a little bit different because it is not as well capitalized or has as much on book as strategy. Strategy is going to be first to the table to eat in this situation, not BMNR.
Okay. I don't necessarily agree, but we can leave it there. Coin is strictly not crypto. Coin is actually equities too now.
They haven't released that yet, but they're going to be, yes.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is the pair trades continue to show up, right? The pair trade for the longest time was long Bitcoin, short MicroStrategy, right? Get it to under 1 NAV. What I'm looking for is you're starting to see it in different sectors. Look, Tesla and Rivian are up together, right? You're starting to see some of the trends change. Is what I'd like to see is more of that and less of the pair trading overall for me to get really confident about this price action, which is bullish overall, but we're not trending yet. We're not even
99.1 bullish in the chat right now, baby.
I'm gonna have to change that.
Nick is GP trying to throw the baby out with the bathwater a little bit here?
Well, no, I mean, you got to manage risk.
Of course.
You know.
All right, we're back to 93. You guys are welcome. Look, Google looks great. Apple has been super weak, which is, we talked about Apple being the ultimate pair trade to the markets. If the markets are going up, Apple's going down. It's kind of how it balances. This is what I'm talking about in terms of.
I'd be a buyer right here, right now, if I wanted to position an Apple. I would be loading right here.
I am a buyer. I agree, right? But what I'm saying is, why is it down? There's no reason for it. You can make up a narrative about some puts or call flow or whatever.
I know why. There's a finite amount of money, and Apple is the largest bully on the block. So you have to have a source of funds from somewhere.
And where have we heard that before?
Here on this podcast for the last 4 years.
That's my whole point, right? Once these pair trades, and we'll have a couple of weak things, but Apple and Tesla have been weak compared to most mega caps for the better part of 4 years now, right? So would like to see those stop being contrarian trades. There's a lot of things that I look for in general. Also would like to see the bond market wake the fuck up, right? That's another thing that I would like to see happen. But I don't know if it's going to. Not until J Powell sits down and pees, right? As what's his name? As what Duzio says?
Dude, he is gone. He claims that he is trying to end his shit posting addiction.
Duzio's gone?
Yeah.
This is breaking news. I didn't see
it last year.
He's tried to do this so many times. Let's see. When was his last tweet? Yeah, December 31st.
I'm gonna provoke him.
If we get the trend this year that I think we potentially can get out of this market,
he'll be back.
I would not blame him for this being the last year. I wouldn't blame anyone for this being the last year for investing, right? Like what I think is going to happen in the markets in the next 12 to 18 months overall is going to be shy of what we've been waiting for, right? The golden age of investing, and in those moments you should be trimming out, not adding to, and not chasing, and position yourself now for it. That's my view. That's how I'm setting. You guys do you. But if that was the case, I definitely understand this being the last year for Duzio. Shit, it might be my last year too then.
I told Duzio Mobileye needs him. So that might wake him up.
We'll see. Shit, what a day in Mobileye. Ugh.
What is Mobileye doing? Is it up or down?
It's flat.
Well, it gapped really high up to fall straight on its face per what Mobileye tends to do.
Yeah. That's just normal price behavior.
that's just Mobileye being Mobileye. Anyway, I did want to touch on that MicroStrategy topic that we hit on earlier, though, GP. I think yesterday's news completely eliminates the biggest bear thesis for these crypto treasury companies, specifically MicroStrategy. And why do I think that? Well, one of the biggest fears was they are never going to get indexed, right? They are never going to get mass adoption. Well, what yesterday said was we are not going to exclude them. And that basically gives these large institutions, these BlackRocks, JP Morgans of the world, license now to put them on their books in all these different ETFs, all these different funds, right? So we're talking about billions of dollars that will begin inflowing. And regardless of what today's price action is, and it's up 2.5% right now, this is a long-term bull catalyst. Now, obviously, Strategy and these other companies who are in these treasury companies, they're tied to whatever token that they're holding, right? So at the end of the day, yes, Bitcoin going up is going to be important for strategy to continue to go up. But however, today's news is independent of whatever the crypto price is. So while Bitcoin it was down about 2%, yep, 2.5% right now. Regardless of that, strategy is up 2.5% today, right? So that just tells me that there are buyers stepping in right now in strategy, and we basically set the floor around this $159, $160 mark. So that doesn't mean it's not going to go below that. But I would say with NAV being basically a 1 now on MicroStrategy, this is probably a great place to buy. And I did. So there you go.
So I don't disagree with you. I think this is what we've seen typically, which is when the news happens, especially on a heavy short name, the first day becomes kind of this doji kind of hot dog setup that we've talked about
That's
as
kind of what we're
well.
looking at.
Yep. And then the next day or two, once it's digested, has your face ripping rally. I got long
Because
too.
the shorts have to cover. The
Yeah.
shorts have to cover.
Yeah, and I got long. I'm with you. I got long today as well. So or overnight or whatever it is, right? But I'm with you here. And the risk to reward, even if I'm wrong, is minimal, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're not taking this trade, that's fine. I'm not pressuring you to take it, but this this news coupled with how the price is behaving is a positive sign for upside movement, and your risk is really defined, right? And if you want to keep the low of this piece, reduce your size. If you want to be tighter with your stop, you can increase your size. But yeah, it's a double bottom. It's all that stuff.
I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that's kind of my expectation.
Yeah, the one thing we need is crypto to find buyers, right? That's the one thing that we need. When you have something that is now the short's biggest piece of news removed from the conversation, and you're at a 1-to-1 NAV, it now tracks Bitcoin perfectly. So now it's going to have to see crypto go together, right? So my thesis is crypto is going to take off tomorrow. That's my opinion. I've been wrong about my opinion many, many times, so don't get me wrong. But yeah, I like MicroStrategy here. I'm also a big buyer of coin. Like I am tilted heavy in coin via shares and options. So
Yep. I increased my exposure on both yesterday and added more strategy today. Nick, are we foolish to be this bullish again on crypto stuffs? I use you as my barometer
Yeah.
because you're not as into it as we are.
I really liked the breakout that we had over the weekend. As far as yesterday and today are concerned, as of right now, it just kind of looks like a pullback into the, I don't know, the 10 and 20 day. I think if we start to see, like, if Bitcoin's at like a big window between 93 and like 105 is kind of like a big pocket that I see. And I think if we can start pushing above that, like 93, 94, we should be setting up for that next leg higher, and then we'll kind of reevaluate as we push into the 200-day. But I think that bode well for the market overall as well. So it certainly looks good. When you go out to if you pull up Ethereum, what I was looking at was I hope what it's not doing is kind of setting up the same thing that it did back in 2022, where it was kind of basing and flagging under the long-term moving averages, basically the 200-day, and we kind of failed there before we really rolled hard. I'm not in that camp as of right now, being that the overall structure of Ethereum, it's in basically a 5 to 6 year base. And so the way that I'm currently looking at it within that base, I'm looking at where we're sitting right now, building out the right shoulder of an inverse head and shoulders. So are you on the weekly? No, you're on the
we get
daily.
Google News while you're talking. Do we get Google News? Anyone tracking this? It just popped $5 from 320.
Yeah, Amazon's ripping too. Microsoft.
You're not bullish enough.
Yeah, if you want to talk about Google, but I was just saying that, like,
No,
if you,
I was
you know,
just asking real quick. Keep talking, Nick.
yeah, so you look at that weekly, that July to December, July to November of 2024 would be kind of your left shoulder, and then where we're sitting right now would be your right shoulder. It is kind of a sloppy build out, but if you zoom out on the weekly time frame, so zoom out, it looks, I'm just looking at it as like a monster. We're sitting in a monster base, so like my thought is just if we're putting in a higher low here, then
This is
just
what
kind of
you're.
keep, yeah. So like just kind of like if you're stair stepping and legging into an Ethereum position, that's how I would be starting. Obviously, we fail here and roll over. I mean, all bets are off. But I don't know. I agree with your guys as Mister. I kind of like the setup there too. Largely on Mister in particular, I like that high volume candle on December 1st. We're still flirting with it and trading within the range of that candle. Uh, and so far we don't have the volume to push. Like we undercut the low of that bar, but we didn't really have the volume or the acceleration to the downside. So at the very least, short term, I think you should be anticipating a thrust higher, which would kind of lead me to believe that crypto then would be pushing higher as well. Mister, that basically the next trigger on Mister, if you're like, let's say you're trading versus this floor, would basically be 199, 200. And I would just kind of draw a box there. And best case scenario is price kind of just like melts and trends up into that 200. It's right in alignment with the 50-day. And, you know, kind of like, GP talked about Tesla, like, a few weeks back, where like when you have a ceiling, sometimes you need price to gap that ceiling for us to fucking go. And I think in this case, you get something like that. The next overhead resistance is 240, and then you climb above 240, and it's like, fuck, we're going back to highs from there. Pending we get above 240, hold, and then we're back within that huge range between 240 and what was it, 450. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
The biggest swing there is 200, Nick. 200 is where we broke out from in 2024 and went to 540. Once that gets reclaimed, which I imagine volatility will increase around there, you should see how it gapped down from 200, right? The same concept. To get push through support, you have to gap below it, right? And then people are fighting to get it back above, and it just doesn't. So similar thought process on the downside.
I wanted to have my position as close to this 155 as I could yesterday.
Yeah, I think that's
that was after Monday's gap up. As soon as I saw that, I put that. I'm going to start doing a weekly watch of plays for any given week, and I posted that Sunday. Strategy was one of the names I liked that I was already long. And as soon as I saw that gap up yesterday, I was like, Tuesday is going to be my chance. I didn't know news was going to break. So I got my chance right back here, close to that 155. And I think that's the line that needs to hold. Can it go under? Can it faff around it? Yes. So I'm not saying set a stop loss at 155. I'm just saying that's the number I want to shoot against and be long against, right?
Yeah. Because, I mean, and even so, like, let's say you are playing against that floor and price undercuts it and you stop out. It's an easy, level to play against to the upside to get re-involved as
you know
price
me too
reclaims that
well.
level. So, yeah.
You know me too well. Make it easy. You don't have to make it hard. This is not like spooky scientific whatever. Like you see it right there, right? Like it's easy to see that floor. So I made it easy on myself. Purchased some. Got another fill today. Really excited about it. I think GP, I don't disagree with your $200. I think that 190, 200 range is going to come into play. But I think eventually we're going to get back up here closer to this, 280 to 290 level. Don't expect that to happen overnight. I mean, this thing moves wildly, and if Bitcoin goes on a massive run, you can expect to see massive gains. But I'm a little more structured and step by step than that. But I think eventually this is right back to 290 at some point in the near future.
Yeah, interestingly, yeah, I just pulled up BNR. I haven't really looked at it in a long while. I suppose it kind of makes sense that it's kind of held up a little bit better, just considering it's Ethereum tied versus Bitcoin tied. Yeah, okay.
Yep. But all the treasury companies are trading at NAV or below NAV, right? So like
yes,
their assets they're holding are more valuable than the stock itself. And so if the assets start to rise, these are asymmetric bets to the upside. When you're, I think SBET trades at 0.74 NAV or 0.75 NAV. Maybe it's a bit more now, but last time I checked, it was 0.74 NAV. Like if Ethereum does what everyone thinks Ethereum is going to do, these are asymmetric bets to the upside, and you're getting an opportunity to buy them at 60-70% depressed, right?
Yeah, take a look at GLXY. I mean, it's a gorgeous head and shoulders, and you have the floor versus 23, and then the right shoulder at 30 to play against.
Yeah. So like if you're in this space, let me talk about HUT, because if HUT is gonna if the markets are doing what HUT has done, you're in
crazy
for a
strength,
whirlwind.
Yeah. Crazy strength.
Look at this on a quarterly basis, right? Look at that volume. Look at that incessant. I can't get enough of this stock. And it's been building. We talked about this build in HUT between the $9 and $12 range. That base broke out, and that base didn't break out to distribute. That base broke out to buy more. And so if you're
it's all about that base.
All about that base, right? And so if you're in the crypto space, patience is what's going to be required as you build your positions, right? That's my general thesis. I know a lot of crypto bulls have gotten obliterated over the last 4 months. I'm sorry. You should have been in metals. Sorry.
No, GP. In fairness to that, in fairness to that, I think a lot of people are maximalists. And I'm not talking about Bitcoin maxi. I'm just talking about hodl forever, right? Hold on, don't look. And while over the course of time that has been proven correctly, there's nothing worse than buying your bag and then seeing a 30 or 40% fall off, right? Like that's just soul sucking. And if you're not taking proper risk management, or you don't have the stomach or the cojones to hold on during that 30, 40 and add, right, you're doing it wrong.
So
this is not financial advice. This is experience speaking.
Here's one thing to pontificate over a broader,
I like that word.
Broader time period. Both you guys, what if Bitcoin has been leading for the better part of 15 years to where the market is going to join its
that makes me horny.
Huh?
Yeah, I said all that makes me horny.
Right? So Bitcoin has been the leading risk on assets since 2011. And you're bitching about a 20-30% move down here, right? It has been guiding the markets higher for the better part of 17 years or 15 years or whatever you want to call it. And so as you've seen, different sectors in different parts of the markets are slowly starting to catch up what Bitcoin has already done. Metals are now on that boat, right? Metals, like, for 47 years, silver did jack shit, and now it can't stop going up, right? So what if Bitcoin has been your leading indicator and you're just reading it wrong?
I never thought of it that way.
I like big
what
picture
if Nick
bullshit.
Didn't have an awesome beard?
I know.
What if I
Hey.
had more books than Nick had behind me on my shelves?
Yeah, I
Something
just
to pontificate.
it's you can percolate on it as well.
Hey, if you want to
Or
switch
you can,
gears,
or you can pasty on it. You can
yeah.
put pasties on it.
Grind it.
Yeah. Yes, let's talk about let's switch some gears here, Nick.
I was gonna bring up China, because we
Yeah.
talked about it a few weeks ago. Particularly the CQQQ, which I think looks absolutely gorgeous. And it's just emerging from a stage 1 base, with a successful retest of like the 30 week and the 40 week are both catching up to that week on the weekly. Both pushing past kind of the highs of that stage 1 base. Baba not looking so hot, but I wanted to kind of touch on Baidu because I think when we did bring up China, I think between the three of us, we all kind of liked Baidu a little bit better than Baba.
Yep.
And where it's kind of sitting right now, it's a really pretty setup, both on the weekly and then on the daily too. You have that, the massive gap up, so it's pretty easy to kind of define your risk here. If you're not already involved in Baidu, you could, maybe half the gap or a quarter of the gap or whatever. I mean, whatever your strategy is.
I like it, Nick. I took another little piece of Baba yesterday, and Baba doesn't look as good as CQQQ or Baidu, but I'm already long, so I'm just building
Sure.
into my trading position. I could have gone multiple other ways, but yeah, just like on
Baba looks very similar to the CQQQ. So it's not that I don't like Baba. If anything, like the risk even here in Baba, you have an opportunity to
yep.
snag a pretty low cost basis, kind of versus the 30 and the 40 week.
Yep.
Yes.
So I basically got in near the lows of yesterday, which obviously it's 2% lower today. But I was happy with that. Just looking at the way the moving averages were curling, and then if I can draw a line here, I liked this area of it. Why isn't my picker working? I like this area of interest right here, knowing that I could get opportunities to fill a little bit lower. So that's why I took on more Baba yesterday. But you're absolutely right. Baidu and their chips and their AI magic, which that was the Google news, was Anthropic GP. I don't know if you saw that in the chat.
Yeah, I thought.
But yeah, I mean, anything that's being blessed by AI is running, and that was your 20% gainer last week in Baidu. So, Nick, I don't really go all in on CQQQ. If I'm looking to play some leverage, I'll go in yen. Where is it at? YNN. If I'm looking to get some leverage, I'll do it this way by going yen. But with China, it's just too hard for me to jump in that round from name to name. I know Baba, while it may be a little bit more of a laggard than a Baidu currently, I just trust the individual stock more than I trust trying to cast a basket like I do on mega cap US companies.
Yeah.
Dude, Futu looks the best.
Fubu?
Futu.
FU2.
Oh, yeah, Futu. I mean, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
FUTU.
FUTU. I had O.
It
looks great.
Continued to show strength in China over all the China names. It is literally sitting and consolidating and basing above prior all-time highs from 2021. You know what? Another one I like. I know this is in your warehouse, in your wheelhouse, and I'm a new position buyer. On yesterday's decline, SoFi.
Oh,
love it.
Yeah.
This base above the right at the pivot, the console. Oh, I love it.
So I think what you got going, and yesterday was a great opportunity too. I mean, look at that huge shitty candle coming off of that expectation of being included in the S&P 500. I think we're still going to be drudging here. I've been in SoFi for a long time, and I think we're still going to be dredging through some miserable price action because we're just about a month out from the offering that they did, which was smart, right? Good management gets more capital by releasing more shares when prices at or near all-time highs. So brilliant move. But I think that $27 mark somewhere around here is going to sort of be the floor for the time being. And it's going to take a little while probably to eventually break out here above 31 again. But yeah, I love it. I mean, as far as a long-term financial, GP, I've been in this from below $5. So I love every second of price in the 20s and eventually 30s and higher.
Yeah.
Nick, anything about this chart that you like?
I'm with GP. I love the weekly in particular. I like it's gone. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 weeks tight, basically here at the low end of the range. You also have a 3-week tight back in September, October of last year. And then again back in early September of last year, late
I
August.
mean, you're
early September.
basically in a 21-week range.
Yeah, so it kind of tells me that the floor here at 25 to $27 is pretty important. The 30 and the 40 week are both catching up to price. 10 week is flatlined, and it's basically just basing above all time highs. So I think it's, if you're not involved, it's one worth if you're more of a Momo driven trader, just I would have alerts set at 25 and then probably have alerts set at 30, and probably wouldn't mess too much between like 25, 50 and 30. Just let it faff around in here. If obviously if you're longer from, if you're long from within the stage one base, obviously it's a whole nother story. There's no reason to be, dumping your position when you're just sitting up here. Probably worth adding to it if anything. Yeah, good luck.
That's exactly why I think this is where we start to break out, right? So
Yeah.
this is the part that I want to be involved in, which is the breakout. So
GP, what's your price estimation?
This?
Yeah. Where do you see this going?
I don't know.
I think next stop is $50.
Honestly, I haven't done any fib extensions or anything. I literally just like this setup. And then yesterday when it failed so hard, I was like, that's my bread and butter. Give me that. I'm gonna break out failure, and give me that any day. I will take that risk to reward twice every single day. Like there's no doubt. Even if it fails, I will get back in as soon as it reclaims that, because those shakeout candles in the middle of a breakout are insanely powerful. And I believe there's no news, right?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Real quick, we're running out of time. Joey wants to know about Celsius, CELH, GP.
Yeah.
Charts on the screen.
Should have bought in 38 to 40 when it had the when it had the weekly 50 golden cross, 5200 cross. It gave you an opportunity to buy, because you usually see on those weekly golden crosses, you usually see a dip in most stocks. So it gave you that dip into like the 38 to 40 area, and it's been nonstop since then. I think I posted a chart about it too.
I think you did.
Yeah.
Hey Nick, you recently did a little something. I know we're running out of time, so we gotta move quick. But you just recently got off of a retreat, and I was wondering if that helped enlighten you for today's last word.
Yeah, you never regret investing in yourself and furthering your education. Kind of even to our earlier conversation pre-show, this is the hero's journey, and we're all learning every day. We're always learning something new, and it's perpetually just peeling back more layers. The minute nobody, obviously, dudes always used to post that chart about nobody knows shit, and it's really kind of the truth of it. We're just perpetually peeling more and more layers back. Yeah, for those in the chat, I did a 5-day silence and fasted retreat with some breath work, some sauna work, some yoga, and it was great.
Sounds awesome. It sounds incredible. GP, what's the last words for you?
Like stock charts, our lives are charts, and if you are not breaking out, you're just basing. And if you're just basing, this is on the back of what Nick was saying. You're building. Don't give up. Stay true to who you are. Honor who you are. Stay within a growth mindset. But even within a growth mindset, you can consolidate for sometimes years.
I love that, GP. I don't really have anything except I'm going to plug Friday's show. We'll have our Tuesday show Friday. So Tuesday show Friday, noon, or no? Are we going to do noon? Or are we doing? Yeah, we're doing noon. We're noon on Friday. So instead of Tuesday, we missed yesterday. Nick was getting his phone back and traveling, so we wanted to wait on him. So we'll have our Tuesday show Friday, noon. You'll catch us on the YouTubes. We'll post the links. And hey, shout out to Ryan. Thanks for always being the producer with the mostest, Ryan. We love you. Chat, thank you so much. You've been watching Stocktwits Community Rip Live right here every Wednesday at 1 p.m. And we will see you next week.